What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about my first week here in Austin, but make sure you guys go check out my last video where I described moving to Austin and why I decided to do it and how I moved on from Dallas. So right now we're going to the Public Central Library out here in Austin, and I'm going to explain a bunch of stuff that I did this week. Let's get it, guys. What's going on, guys? I know you guys just saw a clip of me, in the library or whatever. That library was definitely dope. Definitely shouldn't have brought my DJI Pocket. Sometimes I don't even like bringing it out because, we in Texas, so they might think it's a gun. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, I just got done running, and I wanted to tell you guys about my first week, man. Look, I'm really loving it. I know when I first moved to Dallas, I was super excited, right? And that was my first taste of Texas, but this is a little bit different for me because now that I've experienced Texas for almost a year now, and, I would say I was just more excited about moving to Texas, but here I'm more excited about living here in the city specifically. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard a lot about Austin, but living here is a different story. It's definitely amazing. It's worth the hype. And, I started following all the Instagram pages and shit. And, there's so much to do. People say, yeah, it's a small city or whatever. It's really not. It's actually the perfect size for me because, first of all, right here, we're on the Ann and Roy Butler hike and bike trail, 10-mile trail. And I live on this trail. And there's a lot of apartments, too, on this side. On the Riverside area, but as you can see, downtown's over there. It looks amazing, right? And everyone's active, everyone's moving and grooving. There's people paddleboarding constantly, so that's a lifestyle out here. And I've never really been an outdoor person, but I will say, like, for me, I'm starting to open up to that. Like, I want to join a run club. I want to get into paddleboarding. I want to do kayaking. I haven't done some of those things, so that's definitely something that I'm looking to accomplish, going into my 30s. I'm 29 now, but yeah, we hit up a couple spots. We went to Paperboy. I would say Paperboy is a little overrated, but we went to the location in East Chavez over here, so I want to check out the other one. I think it's somewhere in South Austin, Zilker area, I guess. We went to Barton Springs. That was amazing. That was way better than what I expected and what I've seen online. Like, I thought that pool was much smaller, but it was huge. It was humongous. One of the biggest man-made pools, I guess, or half man-made, half natural pools. One of the things I just didn't like was, instead of it being like just a concrete floor, clean, it was kind of like there was algae and shit, and there was a lot of stuff at the bottom, and I ended up slipping, and they didn't really have like a lot of signs or anything, but I mean, it's Texas, who cares? It's not always the safest here living in Texas. You'll go to a lot of parks and shit, and like there won't be railings and stuff like that. That's normal, honestly. My bad, guys, had to come inside, you know what I'm saying? Way too hot outside. But your boy got a little drinky drink right here, and I'm getting ready to go out soon, you know what I'm saying? So wish I could show you guys the closet, but it's looking crazy right now. I'm rocking this polo I got from Walmart. Honestly, you can make any fit work. This is one of my favorite shirts right here from Express, but I've worn it too many times and it's kind of losing its color. But hey, y'all gotta fuck with Shein, man. Shein, if I wear this, you'll see my biceps. you'll definitely see my biceps. So that's why I'm fucking with Sheen for sure. We gotta talk about that in a different video. But yeah, going off of the list, right? So I went to Lift ATX because I'm really big into gyms. That gym was great. I would just say, when it's super hot outside and you're trying to work outside and use the equipment, you're trying to, you touch the dumbbells and shit, you're like, you're like, fuck that. Um, yeah, the equipment was overheated and there was no treadmills, but it's Lift ATX. And I will say the benefit of going there, it was only $10 for a day pass. So I would definitely hit it up at least once to twice a month. And people are just super friendly. Like, I never had someone just come up to me and spark a conversation. Now, mind you, hold up. I'm not from Boston. All right, I'm not from Boston, but your boy is a Celtics fan, grew up in South Jersey. We ain't fucking with the Sixers, you know what I'm saying? And, obviously he thought I was from Boston because the dude was from Connecticut. And that's cool, like being in Austin, man, like I haven't had this much fun just talking to people. Like everyone is just fucking happy. You go on the trail and everyone's smiling. It's crazy. It's contagious. And I love that energy. Like living in Philly, you walk past people, everyone has a bad attitude, and the culture there is just trash. Like you're literally, people are going to jail constantly and then getting out of jail. There's a lot of crime. The men and women dynamics aren't good. Dating is trash. And, certain restaurants and bars are charging 20%. And I know they do that everywhere, but, they're scamming and shit. You're not even having fun. People are all about the section, the culture, the club culture and all that shit. So, like, I just wasn't messing with Philly. And then in Dallas was cool in the beginning, but it was too spread out and there wasn't anything to do outside the daytime, and the nightlife there was really lacking. Super country and people were very close-minded because obviously I'm coming from the Northeast and I'm not thinking I'm better than anyone, but I have a different perspective, coming out to Dallas. And, I thought it being a huge city and a lot of people moving there, you would get a lot of that. But, there was people that were afraid to open up and say, hey, I'm from the Northeast. And when you did, to the locals, they would treat you bad. They wouldn't want to talk to you. They wouldn't want to mess with you. And I know on the flip side, oh, you're coming to take people's jobs. You're moving over here. You're hiking the prices. Excuse me. That's been happening. We're in a major city. You know what I'm saying? Dallas is a huge, huge city. So miss me with all that shit, And you move to Austin and kind of similar to DC, it's a transplant city. So those are the best cities to live in my opinion, minus the weather in DC. But let's get back on topic, man. I'm going on a rant right now. Listen, yeah, I'm a little lit. Let me take a little sip. I got some gin in me, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I hit up Lyft ATX. I also, obviously I had to go to P. Terry's. That's easy, light work. I went to the Domain twice, so that was cool. But I don't plan on driving all the way out there again. And I also went to the LA Fitness here, and it was a lot better than the one that was in Dallas. It's a little bit far away, so right now I'm trying to strategize that. Maybe I'll go to Lifetime, it's in downtown. But the biggest difference, guys, so when I was in Dallas, right, and I discovered HEB, it was so good to me. I was driving 40 minutes from downtown Dallas, Deep Ellum, all the way to Plano. But that was the only HEB that was, in the area. Here, I'm in downtown pretty much, or right next to downtown. And there's literally 3 HEBs. One that just opened up recently in South Austin, which is amazing, by the way. And it's just like, bro, I don't even have to drive my car to go to certain places. And I live right next to a trail. So the setup for me as a remote worker is impeccable. It's the best setup I've ever had in my life. It even beats Philly a little bit. And I got to make a separate video, explaining my setups. And that apartment was amazing. But this apartment, man, this apartment is top tier. It's up there. The only thing I would say is that Philly had these co-working spaces that you can be in, in the apartment. But here, you get other amenities that make up for it, and the location is just A1. But Austin in general is just A1, bro. This is definitely the best city I've ever lived in. Obviously, I want to make a video saying, yo, guys, I lived here for a year, and I keep that same energy because that's not what happened with Dallas. But I'm motivated to prove myself wrong and prove other people wrong, that it's like, yo, like, this is the city to live in. And yeah, I'm not going to uni here. You know, my strategy, I work fully remote, you know, and I'm really enjoying it. But apparently it's a thing out here that a lot of people work fully remote, because there's articles saying like, yo, do people even have jobs and shit? Because they keep seeing people like go out to Barton Springs, go out to the lake. And I love it. My cousin also came to visit me, and we went to Nickel Bar, so that was cool. Wish I could have took him to more spots. Literally, I live near Buzzmill, and it's a 24-hour coffee shop that has whiskey flights. Oh my God, it's great. I haven't been to one of their open mics, but apparently too, Austin is the live music capital of the world. It's just dope out here. The only thing is, you know, in Philly you had the transportation, but fuck that shit. Like, just get a scooter, you know, get a bike, electric bike, and you can get around this whole city practically. But even if you have to drive, it's not as far, and it's not as bad as the traffic that I dealt with in Dallas. Like, people actually stop for you. There's crosswalks everywhere. In Dallas, like, especially in Deep Ellum, construction, and it was like an industrial area where there was no sidewalks, like where trucks would, you know, pull up and shit. So it's just really awkward trying to get coffee every single day. And, you know, people didn't really talk to you like I thought they would, you know. But here, in one fucking week, my Uber driver was having a whole convo about basketball with me. You know, someone struck a convo with me at the gym as a guy too, especially as a male who doesn't know anyone. You know, I would think, like, every city I've been to, you know, people don't view, you know, single men in general, like men that are just out and about by themselves. Like, they don't view them nicely or kindly unless they're buying something. But over here, like, even men and women in my own apartment complex, at the gym, wherever, just being friendly. Oh, you have a good day. Like I said, everyone's just having fun out here. Super lighthearted, super lighthearted. And I mentioned this on Instagram, right? But the diversity here, like, yeah, it's Texas, right? But people are kind of like, you know, with that California influences, it's like kind of similar to the Northeast, where you just don't care about, you know, who's here, who's not here. Everyone's busy. So we're not making it a thing if, like, someone comes into our vicinity and, you know, let's say it's all white people and I'm Spanish and then there's black people. They don't care. Everyone's just enjoying themselves, having a good time. It's just a different energy out here versus, like, in Dallas, people would be staring at you and be just not welcoming at all. And very segregated. You know, you wouldn't even see people of different races talking to each other like that. It was crazy to me. But I'm so thankful to have all these experiences living in all these different areas. I would just say, you know, with Austin, I'm going to continue to check out the coffee shops, continue to, you know, talk more about just what to do in Austin, what to expect when you live here, and, you know, some of the things that are overhyped, but some of the things that aren't talked about enough. A lot of pop-up shops, you know. I saw something where, like, there was a Star Wars store that popped up. Oh, I got to go bat watching. I've never done that in my entire life. And there's actually a website that shows you, that tells you when the bats are coming out under the bridge. And I was running on the trail and I saw all these people. I'm like, oh, is there a concert on the trail? That's cool. Because that's just the Austin thing. Like, I see people who basically on the trail, it turns into a boardwalk. And they use this bungee cord thing to make it like a fucking trampoline. They're jumping into the river. They're fucking crazy, but it's sick. And I see it all the time, right? But back to the bat thing. I start, you know, finishing up my run, and then next thing you know, all these people are just like with their phones looking at something, and I'm like, what are they looking at? I look up, there's nothing, and all you see is just a bunch of bats just flying around. I'm gonna put it right here for you guys to look at. It's just like crazy. So it's like, the last thing I want to say is that, you know, Dallas people were hating when I said, hey, I'm moving to Austin. They got big mad. And I understand, but I also don't, because it's so fun out here. And it's not just about, oh, people are from California. No, people are from everywhere. People from everywhere come here, just like they did in Philly. And
honestly, like even people growing up in Dallas, no, growing up in Texas and shit, they say that it's one of the best cities. And I'm not even trying to be like a hater like that. I'm really not, because I think Houston in its own right is a great city too, and I want to go visit it more. And I definitely want to go to San Antonio. You know what I'm saying? Thankful that like my cousin's up the street, because like I had no one out in Dallas, and luckily I created a community out there too that was kind of already set up, but it really didn't have anyone in it until I came. So thankful for that. Thankful for the community in Philly, but I don't know. I'm trying to, do something different with my life out here, because I feel like everything I did building a community, like it was good for me, but I'm not just here to make friends anymore. Like I want to create a business. I want to, create a life for myself where I could be an entrepreneur, and it's not just about making all this money, but it's about being able to travel around the world. And maybe Austin could be my home base, and then I could split time to go to Jersey to see my family, maybe go to Miami because I love going to Florida, but I don't know if I want to live there right away. But I think Austin could be my home base. I really truly believe that. But a lot of expectations, right? First week was great. I got to do things I've never done before, like Barton Springs and the bat watching, and just seeing how hilly it is too, seeing the scenery, the energy, the people here. Almost every day, I'm able to just spark a conversation with someone and feel this lighthearted energy, and everyone's enjoying life out here. So I really, really think like anyone can move out here. You just have to be open minded and just have fun. But I will say one last thing. I feel like you do have to be an outdoor person, because that is really huge out here. But hey, the weather is great and people are trying to have fun. So I don't blame them for that. And I feel like for myself, I'm really starting to become that outdoorsy kind of guy, you know? Not that I want to do extreme hiking and extreme bullshit, but it's just like being outside, getting the sun in, getting that nice tan, being on the lake, and eventually paddleboarding. Because I'm not trying to be like, oh, I've been here for 8 months and I haven't paddleboarded. Like, I'm signing up for a meetup or an event real soon. I actually missed out on one. But, as of this recording, I've only been here for 2 weeks, and I'm talking about mainly my first week. So we'll see what happens, guys. I'm going to keep you guys posted, man. I'm super excited, as you could tell. But all right, I'm going to get going, guys. So I will talk to you guys later. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check out my last video where I talked about the process of moving from Dallas to here. And I will talk to you guys soon. Catch me on IG and TikTok.